Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Hot Takes with your hosts, Derek and Jason. I'm Jason,
I'm Derek.
and let's get right into the hot takes.
So to get a little bit more spicy than last episode where we talked about Up, I'm gonna start pushing a bit more buttons today. But before I kill yours and the audience's hopes and dreams, ultimately by what I'm about to say, I would like to state that you're a good friend of mine. I've known you now for some years.
I wouldn't say good after last episode, but we're still friends.
This is really, honestly, this is just a therapy session to just test the boundaries of like our friendship. Of
I
like
don't think
the
therapy
strength.
is for testing. I think that's what
I don't know what you're talking about, man. The best way to keep a relationship like in the best form that it can be is to test it to its limit.
All right.
I mean,
take it from you, the CS major.
Yes,
Computer science.
and also take it from you, the CS major as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Computer science.
Computer
boys.
science. If you don't know what that means,
I know. I keep forgetting people don't know.
People
what
do
CS is.
not
I do
know.
that all the time.
I
Like,
do
what
it
major
so
are you?
much.
Oh, I'm CS.
They're like,
What?
"What's that?"
What does that? Is that like a disease? Like I don't know. Anyway,
What
you got for me today?
We are dipping into a Disney property here.
Don't call it that. Never call it that. No matter how many good or
Owned
bad
by
things. I just,
Disney themselves. This is Star Wars related.
All right, that's as much as I don't know what it is. I just knew it was Star Wars.
So, I would like to see if you can take at least a crack at what trilogy I'm going to talk about.
Original trilogy.
Yes.
Okay, good.
So, anyone who is too scared to have their childhood ruined, you may leave now. If not,
Wow.
if you are a brave
You're
soul,
gonna ruin my childhood with your opinion.
if
so
you are
sensitive.
a brave soul
Look at
and
me.
you got some thick skin that you put on today,
I'm a lizard. I have the
listen
thickest
up.
of skins.
The original trilogy as a whole is an entirety. Now, I'm not saying individual films. I will elaborate, but I want to my TLDR as a whole is not that great in my opinion.
My eyes are as wide as the ocean.
The viewers cannot see Jason's eyes, but they are very large.
They're as wide as Kylo Ren right now. Let me tell you.
Yep, it is.
You don't like the OT.
I didn't say that. I said they're not as great as like I could hope them to be.
Man.
But I would like to.
Man.
So to get into this discussion,
that's spicy.
I said it would be spicy, but I do have my reasoning. I did think about this.
No. Let me clarify this before you start getting into reasoning. You're saying objectively the films are bad in comparison to other Star Wars films that are bad, or not? Sorry, not bad. Not as good. Like, are you saying it's your least favorite trilogy, or are you saying
it is not? Okay, no. I want to state this right now. I'm sorry again for the group because I know there is a group. Sequel trilogy is the worst trilogy.
Yes, objectively.
There's
Although
no
I will
coherence.
say, my sister, she's going to art school to be a production design for film and TV, and her one of her teachers, I think it was the script teacher, thought that the sequels had the best script in Star Wars. I just want to put that
I'd
out
like
there
to
that
let
there's
the
a
audience know.
professional
I just held in a giant
script
laugh
writer.
just
There's
now,
a professional
so.
script writer, at least one, that thinks that those are the best scripts. So if that's you, I just want you to know that you have support.
I mean,
just
if
not
you're
mine.
saying dialogue, I mean, you might have a point.
Even then, no, I disagree. I just watched all 9 movies.
Yeah, I know.
11 movies, and over the winter.
It's
Okay,
it's
but let's get back on track.
There's not a specific reason. There are multiple things that I have.
Okay, but to clarify your position, it's that objectively the movies are not that great in your opinion.
Let me say what I mean by not great. I mean that they are good. Like not Star Wars good. I just mean good. Overall, as a trilogy. It's not a bad trilogy, but it's not a great trilogy.
So you're saying more or less it's not up there with the greats like Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, not even close.
So you don't
not even close.
You think it's like a pretty standard movie.
Hobbit trilogy.
Hobbit. Oh, really?
Which I think this also might be. I actually like The Hobbit, but it's also
we'll save that for another episode.
That is another topic for another day.
But
let me elaborate. Let me explain why
go for it.
I have lost my mind.
Yeah.
So
you definitely have.
I need to preface this with Empire is a great movie.
Yes.
Empire, I have nothing wrong with at all.
Okay, good. Okay. You really had me scared there for a second. I thought you were going to say that Empire.
It is the other two films which I have problems with.
Okay.
But I would like to state Empire is probably like either the best or like second best example of a huge leap in a sequel.
but you still think it's mediocre relative to many other films?
No.
Or you think
no.
it's an
I think it's a
objectively
great film.
Okay.
When I say anything in my opinion,
your opinion is coming down a little bit for me. I'm less worried about your opinion, but I'm still concerned. But let's continue.
Like plot line, story structure of Empire, the whole like the themes of it, just how the Empire is in Empire. It is a well done film.
Okay,
I will admit that.
So give me a couple of your reasons then, and then we can start discussion.
I'm going to start with maybe the least spicy one, and I'll just go down from there.
Oh, there's a lot of these. Okay.
All right, I'll start with Return of the Jedi.
Okay, that's a pretty easy one because I can almost agree with you there.
I do not like the structure plot-wise of Return of the Jedi.
Interesting.
I actually about none of the film. I enjoy of plot-wise.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of jumping around. It reminds me a lot of the ending, and I hate to say it this way in comparing it to, because it is better than this film, but I compare it a lot to like Rise of Skywalker for me. It feels like we're jumping to a lot of places in some ways. Feels like there's some meandering going on, like a lot of it, and I'm not a huge fan of some of the choices they made. So like Death Star 2, I know it's a cliche. We kind of make fun of it, but objectively, I don't like the idea of that.
Okay. I don't think we're going to be in too much difference here. I agree with you more or less. Okay, I've got to say, the Jabba scene at the beginning, I do love that. I think that's a great way to come back. I think it worked. I like how they come in from the last episode, kind of jumped the span with Luke, but also they're able to cover ground with Luke's
There's
training.
Problems that I have in that, actually.
Really? Okay, maybe then we can have a discussion. Because just to clarify for the rest of it, like the Death Star 2, definitely a little cheesy. I love Endor is cute, but objectively, it's that's all it is.
Actually, okay. So I was gonna save this. I was gonna say this as like a big reveal for my like overall problem with the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But I'm actually going to. I'll just state it now because it's gonna be hard.
I want to get into the meat here.
I don't want to.
So far, I don't completely disagree with you.
My number one problem with the original trilogy as a whole is Luke.
Okay, now that is a hot take, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into this.
So again, Empire is a great film, and also in that, I think Luke is great because I see the character development in him. I see the struggle. I love him when he's training on Dagobah with Luke. I mean, with Yoda, one of my brain.
Yeah, it's okay.
And also when he goes off to go fight Vader, it's very much in the style of revenge. It emanates a lot of like of his father with Anakin, of like, you know, he is blinded by his emotions and wanting to save his friends instead of like focusing on his training and like listening to Yoda. So I mean, I really like him in that. He has a decent amount of growth in that I can enjoy. But I do not like how Luke is in either. Well, I don't know if I would say it like he's a 2D character for me in Return of the Jedi in one way, in an entirely different way in New Hope.
So you think he's 2D?
I think he is a two-dimensional. Okay. I think he is a flat character in both of the films in two different ways. Now let me explain. With Return of the Jedi, I honestly see parallel. Actually, in both films, I see parallels with Rey. I'm going to state this.
Wow, okay. Add a little more pepper, okay?
I'm adding a little pepper to the spice.
A little more chili pepper, I should clarify.
and the reason is that I think Luke's too perfect in Return of the Jedi. He seems too much of a master. I don't see a whole lot of... Like, the Jedi were not the best people. They tried, but you could also see their struggle, and that's also what made them better. That's one of the things that I didn't like about Rey, is it kind of just seemed like she was just naturally... I'm not saying she herself was, but they showed her off like she was naturally a perfect force wielder. And that bothered me a lot, because I like to see... I'm a person who thinks a lot during film, and I want to see the growth. I want to see where did they go from point A to point B as a person, because that's life. And I didn't really see a whole lot with Rey, but I also didn't see that a ton with Luke. Things happened to him, but I didn't get a viable enough explanation to how he got there. At the end of Empire, I'm not, I won't spoil, because I mean at this point I probably could.
Spoil. Okay, time out. In this podcast, if we were talking about a movie made in the 70s, there will be spoilers.
Actually, it was 80.
80s. My bad. I'm terrible at years. Honestly,
it was
if it was made before... Wait, really?
Empire was made in 1980.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I was like, wait, didn't they watch Star Wars in that 70s show? I was like freaking out. Okay. Yeah, so 70s and 80s. Okay.
You know that 70s show wasn't set in the set. It wasn't Like, it didn't get filmed in the 70s, right?
I know, but it was set then.
I know.
At least
I know.
somewhat accurate to the time.
Yeah,
but regardless, there's going to be spoilers. So there's your warning.
Fine.
Done.
I didn't know
spoil
if
the movie now.
So, at the moment in the end when Luke is fighting Vader and he says that he's his father, he cuts off his arm and,
Wow, way to spoil the movie.
you said.
Just roll with it.
Anyway. This is completely unedited, just like to let you know. Anyway, so when he falls, we drop Empire. The heroes are defeated. It's a great ending. I love the ending to it. And Luke is not in the best of shape right now. Robotic hand, very much mirroring his father, which is, I love the symbolism there of like he could potentially become his father depending on the path that he goes down, if he goes down this path of revenge. But the problem with me is I know there's a time jump between Empire and Return, but there's not also a considerable time jump. It is a time jump, but it's not like 10 years or something. Like it is a smallish time jump. It's like a Rise of Skywalker time jump in a sense. It's comparable. I'm not saying it's exact.
No.
It's comparable.
Yeah.
Seeing where Luke was in Empire as a Jedi in training. He was just starting to learn how to use the Force to move an X-Wing. And then by the time that we get to the beginning of Return of the Jedi, the man walks in the room like he is straight up Yoda. It's too much confident in his own ability is the vibe that I get from when I watch that. I don't like how, I don't know. It seems he's too comfortable with his own ability at that point. Like it definitely gives off that feeling like I've mastered this. I am Master Jedi at this point. And I don't see that in him. After immediately the last thing that I saw of him was him nursing his wounds. And I don't get any of his training to see him actually like build back up his strength and become like a master. I understand narratively why we pick up at Jabba's palace, and I think that part's good. But I don't like Luke in the fact that we don't really see his struggle, except the only part that I'm actually pretty okay with Luke is the throne room scene in the end. I do like that with him, like talking about his father to Palpatine and Palpatine trying to convince him. I like that because it's continuing down that same path of like Luke is like Anakin's second chance at a better path. And I like what that represents, but I don't like Luke the character himself. I like the projection of Anakin onto Luke. But I don't like Luke how he is in Return of the Jedi being this perfect Jedi master because he's not.
Yeah. I can respect that criticism. I think part of it would be Luke. How do I put this? I guess it kind of has to deal with what Luke's struggling with. So you could take it the direction where he's struggling with like how can he be good if his father's evil or whatever, which they didn't do. So that's one way you could have taken it. You could have taken it with like it's like he thought he could take on Vader, but then he actually couldn't. But I'm just trying to think of Luke's character, how it's set up in 4. I mean, he's a pretty confident guy from the start.
Now, if you want me to, I do have a different opinion of how he is.
I'm trying. I want to tackle this while we're here.
Yeah.
It'll kind of lead into your criticism with A New Hope, which is when we're really going to fight. Because I don't entirely disagree with you. I think part of it would be, as far as Star Wars is concerned, especially the original trilogy, it's very fast-paced and heavy-moving. So to suddenly switch to this heavy internal conflict with Luke, which is definitely where you're saying the story would kind of need to go, is Luke sort of trying to figure out what happened in Empire. I feel like that would just be a total change of pace for the franchise, especially the trilogy.
I don't think it would be a tonal change too much. I think, again, like I said,
not a tonal change, but a pacing change. You'd be going from these large-scale battle scenes to this really intimate scene with Luke sort of wrestling with this. It becomes way more about Luke and less about Luke, Leia, and Han.
I'm not saying you have to solely focus on that, but you can show it more.
You
could show it more subtly. Like, they don't show as much signs of it.
Yeah, I mean, they have a little bit. I think part of it, because you're also saying it's kind of the reflection of Anakin. If you want to bring in the prequels to it, he sort of has the same confidence that Anakin had. He sort of has the same thing his father had.
But I feel
6.
like Anakin earned it more.
That's true. Anakin did fight in the war for 3 years. But where I'm going with that, I mean, Anakin was confident in Attack of the Clones when he hasn't been in a war. He's still a Padawan.
He wasn't confident.
Are you kidding me? Dude, the chase scene with Zam.
No. Okay,
Wessel,
let me say what I mean by confidence. I'm not necessarily speaking confidence when I mean Luke, I guess. I'm saying, like, he walks in like he is Yoda. I mean, like, he's done it before. He's used to this. He will own everyone, is what I mean.
Well,
Luke,
he does get caught off guard with the trapdoor and stuff.
Okay,
and
but
he has
a
to
little
fight his way
bit
out of
by
the
that.
ringer.
But
Like,
I mean how
part
he
of
talks.
it's for the show.
How he comes in and talks. Like, he just acts like it just has such an ego. I don't know. It makes me feel like he has an ego.
Interesting.
But it's
I kind
not
of take
like
it the other way, where he's kind of putting on this show for Jabba with this end game in mind, like he's planned ahead. Right.
I mean, I could
Which
view
kind of
it that way, but
yeah.
again, I don't like. But also, it has to stem also from where I view Luke overall as a person. Like,
Yeah,
actually,
so we'll get to 4 here in a second.
like, quick thing with
let's just close this because I think
yeah.
we're not completely disagreeing here, because I would
No.
say there's definitely some more exploring that could have been done with
Yeah.
Luke in the beginning of Return of the Jedi.
But
I don't
outside
think
of
Return of the Jedi was a
outside of
perfect
Luke
movie.
in Return of the Jedi, anyway, I didn't really like narratively how the story went anyway. Really, the whole point, in my opinion, of watching Return of the Jedi was just to see the end battle of Luke, Darth Vader, and Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, everything else is filler for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the space battle for the Death Star 2. I love it's a
Really?
trap. I do like it's a trap, but it just doesn't get me excited.
Lando in the Falcon, bro.
Okay,
Oh my
that's
goodness.
it's
That
again,
part's great when they're flying through the passageways with the ties and they're hitting the little pipes and then they go into core. I love that.
I don't know. Again, it just seems like a lot of repeat of Death Star, and that just bothers me a lot narratively.
I don't entirely disagree with you, but I also really like that.
But I will admit, when they're on like Tatooine and having to deal with Jabba, I think that is done pretty decently well. My only problem is mainly just Luke, but that's also how I view Luke as a character.
Yeah. So let's
now switching
transition to
gears.
episode 4. I just want to So
switching gears to episode 4.
yeah, because I think where we're kind of missing each other is where we're starting with Luke rather than where he's ending. Because I would say yes, I do think that Luke, the throne room scene with Luke is the logical conclusion for his character. I also do see some of the other elements sort of falling behind that. The Empire is sort of this larger representation of Vader, where the rebellion is this larger representation of Luke. So when you have this smaller setting with Luke and Vader that's not tied to the larger battle, I do see the disconnect there. I think it works thematically to have those two things going on.
I just don't like the idea of Death Star 2.
But okay, yeah, I'll give you that. Death Star 2 was
You could have
was
done
a little
some
silly.
better. You could have done some better.
But as far as plot-wise, regardless of setting, plot-wise, I don't think I'm entirely with you on that. The movie is.
I would have preferred something closer to like the
missing
end of Rogue
mark.
One, with like how Return of the Jedi was, like a lot of like on the grounds boots, like that kind of fighting rather than a space battle, just because I feel like we kind of already had that in a way.
Yeah.
Like I just narratively,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like that it's just another Death Star.
I mean, we do have some boots on the ground with Han and Leia and
okay,
stuff,
we do,
and the
but
Ewoks,
I mean,
but
the
it is
Rebels.
different.
Yeah,
it is different.
different.
I mean, I do think there's probably budget and stuff involved with that too, but because
Probably,
Rogue
yeah.
One, I'm sure.
Well,
had
I
much
know,
budget.
I know.
But yes, to be fair, that would have been really cool.
Well, they did Hoth,
and
I
they
mean,
definitely
could
did
do.
have a good budget for Return of the Jedi, so it's not an excuse.
I just don't like Return of the Jedi narratively as a film. It is definitely the weakest of the three, in my opinion.
Well, that's a given, but
yeah, I know.
But as far as your take, it's a little spicy. But now let's get into the real spice. A New Hope. You don't like Luke in A New Hope.
Well, actually, that's not necessarily what I said. I think
you said you don't like Luke in the original trilogy, and you think A New Hope. And
remember,
Return of the Jedi
my
fall
hot
off.
take is not Luke. That is the core of my hot take. My hot take is on New Hope and Return of the Jedi as a film.
Right.
So New Hope, like to state, I think is a good film. I don't think it's great. I think it's good. I'm glad for what stemmed from it and what was built off of it.
Okay.
But taking it just solely I don't know. I have problems. Again, like going back to Luke, in that he very much is, I feel, is a face for us to reflect ourselves onto, to like see ourselves in that position. Like
I would agree.
He's this farm boy. He never really knew his parents. He lives with his aunt and uncle.
He wants to see the galaxy,
he's Peter
but he's stuck at
Parker.
home.
He's Peter Parker. In space.
Yeah. Sure.
He's Peter Parker in space, wanting for adventure.
Sure.
Something happens, but I'm not a huge fan of the fact that, like, I understand why they did it that way, but I would have preferred for him being the son of Anakin Skywalker. He just seems very flat. He's just kind of just following along different people. is mainly how it goes. He's mainly just along for the ride a lot.
Okay, so you're looking at this also retroactively with the prequels and Clone Wars in mind.
But I'm also looking at solely as a film in itself. Like Luke again. Still
Well, you
just
mentioned
following
Anakin
along.
is the only reason I bring that up.
Well, yeah, I know.
Comparing to Anakin is now bringing it into the franchise specifically.
True.
That is a franchise specific.
But that was the character.
Criticism.
Character.
But as far as a character, you're saying he's a little flat and he doesn't have a very interesting arc, is what you're telling me.
Special things just happen in his life.
Interesting. I would disagree specifically because the moment of decision is when he comes back and the Larses are dead. That is his moment.
I know.
Granted, it is pretty straightforward that he would probably want to join the rebellion. He's been saying he wants to join the rebellion the whole time, but that is his commitment moment. So
I mean, I understand the death, like that whole thing there. But again, I'm saying more narratively, how they use Luke is, I just saw it as a plot device to get him off Tatooine.
Yeah. Well,
I understand it. Like, don't get me wrong. Unlike Return of the Jedi, I understand narratively why they did A New Hope the way that they did. But in turn, I just think Luke could have been a stronger character. I think he could have been more complex.
Interesting.
I know he's a young kid and he's just learning.
Be fair, I honestly like Luke specifically because he's not overly complex. That's why I like A New Hope. In my mind, I love Empire because it gets into some nitty-gritty details. It fleshes out this whole universe. But I like A New Hope specifically because it's the first entry in the franchise, and it is so enjoyable and digestible without being empty. Like you have.
You're talking about Empire or A New Hope?
A New Hope.
Okay.
It's like the plot structure. It's very simple. You have the opening scene, then you have Tatooine, you have
like
the Death Star, and then
I
you
agree
have
with you.
Yavin. Like there's three main points.
Narratively, it is a great storyline beat. Like I 100% agree with you. It's just, again, the core of my issues is mainly with Luke. I'm
missing you right now. I'm not sure because I say something about Luke and then you say the narrative and then I say something about the narrative. And
it's narratively how they used Luke. Like story-wise,
so how Luke
he's used.
fits into the structure.
Yes.
So you're saying, it sounds like your main complaint is that Luke is a passive character, and you would prefer that he was a more active character. Passive meaning that he's not really making any decisions. Decisions are sort of happening to him.
Yes.
That sounds like it's your main complaint.
That's my
Interesting.
If I was going to specify, yes, that is my main complaint. He is going along with other people's decisions and kind of just not really thinking too much for himself.
Interesting.
But again, I also know he's a young kid. He's making decisions.
Yeah.
He would probably look to other people for that.
Right.
But I don't know. I just, again, taking in the whole franchise, I would prefer because you look at Leia. She's not the traditional girl who's captured that needs to be rescued. Mm-hmm. They made her character a bit more complex. She's a bit more like she's willing to stand up to injustice. Mm-hmm. They made her character a bit more interesting in that regard. But again, the other child of Darth Vader still really isn't. I don't know. He's just, there's not a whole lot of hints there, as much as him in Empire, which I think was a good change of again that dark side reaching.
I mean,
into
part of that is it wasn't written yet, but
I know it wasn't. But that's also how the film is now, and that's how we watch it.
So then you are saying your criticism is more in franchise than objectively you dislike it as a film.
Yeah, but again,
because I'd start to lean to understand. I'm able to understand your argument better that way because I would say objectively, sure, it's A New Hope isn't top tier. How do I say it? It's not the best film ever made. I wouldn't necessarily put it as the best movie ever made. But I would say that A New Hope, there's a reason that it was so popular when it came out because
I agree with that.
Everyone can. I feel like everyone can relate to at least one character in that movie. I feel like there's relatable aspects because it's simple enough. You can latch onto the characters because of that.
Well, like I'm saying here, I enjoy New Hope. When I watch it, I enjoy it. Right. But I can't ignore Luke. Luke is by far my number one issue with the original trilogy.
Right. So, but even Luke, I feel like he's.
I would say
yes. There is some passiveness with him. Interesting. You can't connect with Luke at all. You don't.
In Empire, and that's
no.
Helps,
yeah, A New Hope. In A New Hope.
In A New Hope.
In A New Hope specifically. Interesting.
No, because I connect more with I like watching more Han. Han is a great character. Han is my favorite character.
Oh yeah, Han is definitely
outside of Darth Vader. Darth Vader has always been
now. If your hot take was that Han is better than Luke in A New Hope, sure.
Yeah, but that's what I like.
Han's
I like
a solid character.
I like how his character is written. I also like his interactions with Leia.
Yeah.
Like I like that.
So here's the thing. I would agree with you that Luke is definitely not the most interesting character in that film.
No, he's not.
But I think it aids the film in the fact that it's sort of a simple base to which to add in all this complexity. Because you have so much complexity in Star Wars. You have this galactic empire. You have this system of planets. You have these different factions going on. You have the rebellion. You have Han. You have smugglers, bounty hunters. Jabba is even in A New Hope.
Again,
I mean, they mention him. So even before the special edition. So having all that, if you then add in this super complex character, like say you have just because I love this movie, Joker has a very complex character.
Oh yeah.
But the setting is very simple. It's a crime-ridden city. It's Gotham City. That's it. Like there's no complexities. There's no complexity in the politics going on. There's not like any major social issues. I mean, there is by the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, the movie's built around the character. Where Star Wars does the opposite. It builds this expansive universe, and even in the first film, it has quite a bit of expanse and variety. But yet, a simple base to build it off of so that you don't get lost in it all. You can always come back and say, okay, I get Luke because he's simple and he's easy to understand. And then all the other details fill in as you watch it more and more, as you dig into it. But you can still enjoy it without worrying about all those extra details because you can figure out what Luke's doing. You say, oh, Luke wants adventure. Luke has an opportunity for adventure. Luke takes opportunity for adventure. Luke finds that he has whatever he needs to. Luke finds that he can use the Force, and then he's able to save the day in the end. It's a simple hero story. It's not overly complex. So on my take, I think Luke works great. I think Luke works great because of his simplicity versus in spite of it.
I can maybe agree with you objectively. The only reason is that I think it's also a lot of my preference of how I watch film. Like again, I am a person who probably my favorite genre is actually drama. Not sci-fi.
I can get behind a good drama.
And because of that, I really like to think in films. I love complex characters.
Yeah.
And and that's just I don't know why, but it is my preference. But
yeah. I can get behind complex characters. I think there's I think there's a time and place for each one.
What film did you first watch with Star Wars?
Granted, I did watch A New Hope first, but I think
I watched Revenge of the Sith first.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It is, but it also.
So it is the best movie, of course. It's so quotable, but that's a
I would
terrible
actually
place
argue.
to start.
I would actually say it is the best Star Wars movie. Actually.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Not objectively. My personal favorite.
Okay, I'm with you there.
Number 2 is Empire.
Okay.
But number 1, and then number 3 would be Rogue One.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Really? Actually, yeah. I don't know if I put Rogue One or A New Hope first for me, but Rogue One is definitely right there.
Rogue One. That was such a great movie. That
Rogue
is a talk for another day.
That is okay. I can't say that anymore. They've done Mando now, but I was gonna say that's
it's the only
the redeeming quality for Disney
movie.
Yeah, it's the only. Although I guess we can transition to my hot take now to close this out.
So what is yours?
I was kind of thinking about this one, and I think this actually works perfectly.
I might agree with you potentially.
I honestly don't hate the direction they did with Luke in 8.
I love that you brought that up because I 100% agree with you, actually.
This is a pretty hot take. A lot of people hate it. I do think that they're missing filler information. I think the jump is abrupt and weird. Yeah. But I don't think it's out of Luke's character.
No, it's not.
I don't think it is. Especially with you when you see Anakin, you see that the like how Anakin is, and then Luke's got a similar personality. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that it's entirely implausible.
No, I love the way they went
with
Luke.
Kind of fall apart like that.
I really do.
Because Luke has this super optimistic outlook. You have the original trilogy where more or less things fall into place for him. You have him blowing up the Death Star. I like how his optimism
is broken.
You have yeah, exactly. I think that's an interesting place to take the character. Mm-hmm. So I don't hate it. Now, I do think that the sequels fail to get you there. I do think that he thought that Ben was evil and he tried to kill him. Like that's I don't know.
Which apparently Mando is actually, I think it says it's going to attempt to fill the gaps.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with that. I think they will.
I still don't think it'll fix sequel trilogy for me.
No, but I don't know because I will say that the Clone Wars elevated the sequels to actually being like widely seen as good films.
Did you say the Clone Wars elevated the sequels?
Prequels. I might have said sequels. I meant prequels.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will agree with you there.
So I don't think it's out of the question that the sequels will be elevated, although I do think that the sequels are bad. I went back, like, because when I first watched 7 and 8, I enjoyed them both.
Mm-hmm.
I even was okay with 9 the first time I watched it.
Same, but that was more for the experience.
Yes, exactly. 7, I realized, because the reason I did like each movie, I think I was most hype about 8 just because the visuals were stunning. I'm very visual with movies. Like, I love VFX and stuff like that. That's what I do.
Ryan Johnson knows how to make a film look good.
Right. That movie looks amazing. So that I was super hyped coming out of it. But like as I watched it again and kind of digested the story, it kind of fell apart. And I always hated the casino thing. The Finn and Rose excursion bit
is so bad.
That's
the worst.
I hated that the first time I watched it, and I hate it even more now. I don't hate Rose. But the side quest I hate. That's what I hate.
What about the ending to Last Jedi with Rose, though?
I don't hate that either.
Really? That's the hot take.
What do you mean?
When she stops Finn, and they kiss, and then the base blows up.
I don't hate it. It's weird.
Really?
It's not my favorite.
Okay,
I
think that's I think that's spicy.
I would say, let me put it this way.
Because I think
it doesn't work in the movie. If the side quest thing had done more with her character, I think it could have worked. I should phrase it like that. I don't think it works.
I think that's literally the hardest thing for me to watch in that whole trilogy.
Really,
is her crashing in, because he should have died. He killed Phasma.
Yeah,
he should have died. He should
have died right then.
Yeah, well, because they weren't doing anything else with his character.
They should have done something else with the character.
If they were planning on it, then cool. But he killed his rival, so I thought, yes, this would be a moment.
Well, I didn't think they were going to kill Phasma. I thought they were going to do some epic survival story.
That sequel trilogy characters aren't that interesting, and we just kill original trilogy ones.
Phasma was so good. Phasma had so much. She was so interesting, and they had a book that I didn't read, and I was like, oh, they're gonna do something cool with Phasma.
I still think.
Then she fell in that pit, and I was like, huh? Maul fell in a pit. Maul didn't die. Maybe Phasma won't die. And then 9 comes, and it doesn't do anything interesting. I shouldn't say that. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything I liked. I should say.
Yeah.
It does interesting things, sure, but none of it works.
I still think Kylo is still a great character.
Kylo's a great character. But yeah, that I would say that I guess that's a hot take that I don't hate Rose. But yeah, that would be just in the vein.
I agree with you with
Luke.
Oh, I 100% agree. I've been thinking more and more about Last Jedi, and there's still a lot of things I hate about it. But I've come around to a lot of the stuff that I had problems with before, which mainly was Luke and the whole Finn Rose thing. I can't reconcile.
I can never get behind stinking Holdo though. Holdo, okay, I can never.
Well, also I think Leia should have probably died in the beginning of the film anyway.
In the beginning,
when she gets blown up, she had to do the whole.
Oh, is that 8? That's 8. Oh yeah.
When she does the whole the space ferry thing, fly through space.
Although I will say, getting a Jedi Leia would have been pretty sick.
Yeah, but they didn't do it.
They didn't do it, but I think that would have been pretty.
That's
sick.
why my favorite scene in Rise of Skywalker is the flashback scene.
Yeah, I think that would have been a really cool direction, because that was one thing. This is potentially hot depending on where you lie, but I think a lot of the sequel trilogy is just sort of light pandering. They're here's a cool female character. Oh, you know what I mean. I should say subtly unsubtle. One of those arrangements where it's trying to look normal if you're not about the pandering, but if you are into the pandering, you can totally find it there.
I think Rise of Skywalker is.
But then it ends up being super in your face anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. They were trying. They didn't fully commit to the point where it was just a agenda pushing movie, but it's just everywhere. Anyway, because you have this strong female character, which I'm not opposed to. It just need to do it right, in Rogue One. You have you have Finn. Finn had so much potential.
My biggest disappointment. I've thought about this long and hard, and my biggest disappointment with the sequels is the not using of Finn's force powers, which he has.
Yeah, I mean they made it clear by the end,
and
I think that was Ryan.
And basically disregarding him and Poe's friendship and not building off that.
Yeah, they should have done.
Should have been more
him.
integral with how cool of an idea that was. You're talking about a stormtrooper who defects.
I know,
and
there was so much potential
there. Jedi.
Yeah,
that's too cool. He'd be fighting the same empire, the order that he once served. That's cool.
Yeah, but I think. So yeah, I think as far as the sequel, this is kind of just turned into a criticism of the sequel trilogy.
I was going to say this wasn't really a hot take of Luke.
We were starting at Luke, but But yeah,
it is kind of.
I don't want to just rip on the sequels because I mean it was an interesting. I'm just. I
definitely
don't
think
like that Seven was. I don't like that all of it was just banking on nostalgia factors for likes.
Yeah.
But Seven is just taking bits and pieces of the original.
I still
the
really
whole way
like
through.
Seven.
Seven's
Seven
fine.
had so much promise, and I like to look at that more and just think what could have been.
Yeah, Seven felt like not necessarily like a great film, but it felt like a good launching point.
Yeah.
And then 8 was just like swerve. Let's
and
try.
Then Rise of Jedi was like.
Rise
of
Skywalker.
Skywalker.
Skywalker just couldn't pull up after the swerve. It was
like
straight into the ground.
Well, no, it was also a swerve. It was just a swerve. At least if you could have just committed. I really wish we'll probably end this in a second here, but I do want to say that I wish they had gone with the original Colin Trevorrow Duel of the Fates script.
Have you read it? I haven't.
There was a guy on YouTube.
Did they release the whole thing or just snippets?
No, they released the whole thing.
Okay.
You can read the whole thing.
Interesting.
I really hope someone made a novelization out of that.
Yeah.
But there was a guy on YouTube who did a like Twilight Zone mirrored universe basically review of Duel of the Fates if that came out, and he read through the script and basically did it as a movie review. And like it was so much better. It still had problems, but it at least would have been a decent conclusion. Yes, it would have been thematically consistent.
That was the
biggest
they were
going to go back to Coruscant.
That would have been so
the final
good.
battle was going to be in the old Jedi Temple.
Right.
Yeah.
That would have been sick. I will say I
the
did
lightsaber battles
think
were gonna
that
be
the
cool.
Death Star crash site was a neat idea for a location. I don't think it worked. I thought the cinematography
because the
didn't
Millennium
do it
Falcon
justice.
crashed in the right spot that it needed to, and they used this little key in the
Yeah.
right spot that they needed.
Yeah,
to
that was
stand.
all silly. I just mean
Clickbait
as a
Ray,
location,
you know.
it wasn't. I was like, that would actually be pretty
have
cool.
so
But I
many
also don't think they
problems.
should. Like, it felt too small. So I
Rise of
didn't like it.
Skywalker is the worst Star Wars film,
Yes,
in my opinion.
that's not that hot. But there are people that would disagree with you, and to them,
I'm sorry if I
don't
killed
apologize.
if I killed anyone's
If
hopes
this is
and
hot
dreams.
takes, we don't apologize for our opinions. We share them and we roast each other for them. This last one wasn't much of a roast, but still,
It is
really
interesting to
OT
see.
Luke. You don't like that's interesting.
It is funny though that this episode is just Luke themed.
I can see why you would like the sequel Luke then, because he has a bit more complexity then.
Yes, and
Because
also
I think
my
that
favorite.
was
Also, my
good.
favorite character in all of Star Wars period is Anakin.
You know what though? I bet people don't like sequel Luke for the same reason that I like original trilogy Luke, is because sequel Luke has that extra complexity.
I
That
think
makes him
that's
less
probably
relatable.
well. They
That's
probably feel
probably-
that it's not in his character.
Yeah, it's not consistent because Luke was pretty consistently. I mean,
Well, I don't
he
want him
wasn't
to be
like-
consistent. I want change to happen to a man. He grows older. He gets
Yeah.
different. Except Han. I honestly do expect Han to just be a smuggler till his death.
Yeah, Han was great in the sequels. I wish they did more with Leia.
Yeah.
I
I
would
do
have
like
liked
how Han died.
I would have
like
liked
how Han
more filler, more in between with Luke. I think not having him in 7 at all was weird.
died. I was okay with that. I was okay with that being the cool
I just mean
thing.
for how we found him, and then they're just like, there was this one incident in this 30-year gap that just completely changed his outlook on life.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, it would have been nice for 7 to have some sort of elements with Luke's to change, as
Yeah.
opposed to just abruptly, oh, here's Luke now and he's completely different. He's
really
just the same actor.
hope that someday we
So.
get some different cuts of those films, and I don't think we will.
Yeah.
But I really want it like Snyder cut style. Like I want some
that would
change.
be interesting. I'm not sure. I haven't decided on that because there was rumors about just retconning it or something. I don't know how I'd feel about that.
I think you can make some differences and maybe at least make it a trilogy, a proper one. But
Interesting.
anyway, so that was, I would say, the episode for Hot Takes. Apparently, this was Luke's episode.
Yeah, that's the title. That's the title.
I don't want to give it away. I'll
Just come up with a pun
fluid.
with the name Luke.
Oh yeah.
Just keep it subtle.
Yeah.
Some lukewarm takes. There we go.
Wow. Okay.
Lukewarm
Cool.
takes.
If you stayed around long enough, then you've seen the title and you see that it matches. Cool.
Yeah, it matches. Lukewarm.
Well, before we go, we've already held you guys hostage long enough. But
you had some recommendations.
instead of at the beginning of the episode, I wanted to talk real quick
we're gonna wrap
about a
these up
film
with
that
recommendations.
I watched this week that I've seen several times over. This isn't a new film to me, but I do want to give it a plug because I actually think it's maybe one of the best movies in its specific genre I've seen. The more times I watch it, the more I love it. And that being Megamind. My favorite DreamWorks movie.
Really, that's your favorite one?
I think
Interesting.
it is
I don't know which
comparable
movie
in
it is.
quality to Incredibles.
Whoa.
Comparable, not better. I do think Incredibles is better, but I think it's
Okay.
in that same 9 or above area.
Okay, I can respect that.
because I think it is I perfectly written characters. Like if you all haven't seen Megamind,
Yeah, 10 out of 10. I recommend
it is
that film.
it's a
really
perfect
interesting.
film. It is a great superhero movie. It is hilarious, but it's also has a really good story. It definitely subverts your expectations.
And it's DreamWorks,
'cause
so
I-
it's super memeable.
I watched it with my friend with Bryce, my friend in my hall, and he was like, "Yeah, that's not where I saw it going at all." Like 20 minutes into the film,
Yeah.
you know, where yeah.
Yeah, when it turns.
I don't want to give anything away on that film because
Yeah.
I really do want people to enjoy that as it is.
Well, that's your homework, guys. Go watch Megamind. So
Yes.
that'll do it for this week's hot takes.
It's been it's
I think our
interesting.
friendship is not too shabby.
Honestly, it's
We kind of found some common ground here.
we did,
It
and,
kinda
and
turned-
that's the
so-
idea.
So that's
you know?
interesting.
You
I-
people, you savages, come here to see two people
Yeah.
kill each other.
Yeah.
We're civilized human beings. We can have a debate in our modern society.
Yeah. Well, interesting. So maybe you'll stop listening because you have different opinions on Luke, or maybe you'll keep listening to find out what other strange opinions we have, or
Mainly
maybe
me,
maybe
because
we completely
apparently
agree.
I'm the one who has the most hottest of takes.
Yeah,
Apparently.
the hottest of takes.
I
Dang.
oh man, the hottest.
Well,
of takes.
Thanks for listening, and we'll be in your ears next week.
Yes, that's a great way to leave them.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
We will be in your ears. We will see you all next time on Hot Takes with Derek and Jason.
See ya.